Well, what's up, people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, this literally does not work. I am back home. Thank God I'm back home, and trying to figure out. Literally the work never ends. Um, Somewhere the water is overflowing in the pond, and it doesn't take much. If you've ever had a leaky toilet, a leaky toilet that, or a drippy faucet, and then all of a sudden you get this big ass water bill. It's because that little drip adds up. And that's where it is when you've got 10,000 gallons of water here and you got a pump that turns out like 1,000 gallons an hour. It doesn't take much of it overflowing someplace that you lose water. And while I was gone, because I wasn't here since yesterday morning early, it dropped down to the point where basically it stops taking in water and it's down about half a foot of water. So I've got to add some more water to it slowly but surely to get the water back up so I can get the pump back on it. And I'm mystified because I've literally taken apart this whole waterfall, but I think because I've gotten the pump pumping more, that more water, it looks like the seal around the waterfall at the top may be the culprit, but I can't figure out. I don't have a wet spot to go by here in the yard. It's like going like straight into the ground and creating its own aquifer. So the search will go on, and I'll have to figure it out hopefully before I get my knee surgery done. So interesting thing that I saw was an article today. I think it was Blogging the Boys, but I may be wrong on that. And this is now the silly season for the NFL. We've got basically 5 weeks until training camp. Training camp will be open the 22nd of July. Guys, you realize that Monday's the 21st? So a month from Tuesday is when training camp starts. Tomorrow's the last day of rookie school, and then they'll be out for summer to join the veterans. It's coming. It's coming real quick. I mean, it's coming real quick, guys. So be ready to go. In the meantime, people are looking for things to talk about. You got to have content. Everybody wants to have something to talk about and have us click on and read. And so you'll see some of the same stories over, and you'll see different angles, and you'll see some stuff that's just out and out crazy. And so this article today was about trading Vander Esch and Jaylen Smith, the possibilities of it. Allegedly, the Cowboys tried to trade Jaylen Smith during the draft. And you can look at the situation and say, hey, the Cowboys have a multitude of linebackers. We ended up getting Micah Parsons. You got Jabril Cox. You ended up signing Keanu O'Neal, and you're making him a linebacker. You do have a lot of guys, and you could say, the Cowboys could trade somebody. So now in this article, the way they had it was, they had, I want to say, the Cleveland Browns trading a third-round pick for Vander Esch, which doesn't sound bad, except they say 2023. That's way down the road. The thing with trading Vander Esch, it doesn't really behoove you to try and move Vander Esch right now. I don't think you get a third-round pick for him. I honestly don't. I think maybe at best for either of them, you get a fifth-round pick. At best, I think of Robert Quinn, and I think we ended up giving up a sixth-round pick, was it? For a guy who had, a whole career, okay, of paperwork, and still ended up having 9 sacks, 6 sacks, something like that the year before. Somebody with a track record, you only got a sixth-round pick for that guy. So how do we think that with Vander Esch coming off of injuries and having, missed a lot of time, that you're going to get a third-round pick? Because here's the thing with Vander Esch. Vander Esch is still on his rookie contract. Vander Esch doesn't cost you a whole lot of money. So with Vander Esch, you actually want to roll the dice with him because, and here's why I say you want to roll the dice. Either Vander Esch gets hurt and he's the same guy that you've been dealing with injuries his whole career. You let him go. Doesn't cost you a cent. He's a free agent. Vander Esch plays lights out, and you say you got all these other linebackers and we don't want to sign him, right? Well, that's okay, because Robert Quinn, like where you gave up that 6th-round draft pick for, he ended up going to the Bears, signed a big contract, and you got a 4th-round compensatory pick for him. Oh, so if Vander Esch plays really, really well, you'll probably get at least as good of a draft pick as you would if you made a trade. You follow me? Or he plays so good that you say, we need to keep him. So holding on to him, you've got nothing to lose holding on to Vander Esch and everything to gain. Either you end up getting a player that turns his career around, you get a compensatory pick, or it doesn't cost you any more money. Doesn't make sense to trade Vander Esch. You're not getting kind. At best, you might get a 5th. And especially when you talk about, Cleveland might trade a 3rd-round pick in 2023. 2 years from now? No. All right. Here we go with Jaylen Smith. Jaylen Smith. They put that you'd probably get a 2nd-round pick. I can't remember what team. It wasn't the Bears. I don't know who it was. But they say you can get a 2nd-round pick in 2022 for Jaylen Smith. Now, if you could get a 2nd-round pick for Jaylen Smith right now, you go for it. But you ain't getting a 2nd-round pick for Jaylen Smith right now. I'm sorry. There's no way, no how. Yes, he's got a lot of numbers, but you look at that and say, he's great with the swipe. But you look at it and say, his tackles, he gets drugged downfield. And you still have to question, is part of that because of that drop foot that he had? Is that drop foot really back to 100% normal where there's no, counter effects of it? And that could be part of the reason why he can't seem to plant to drive into his tackles. That may be part of the problem of why he can't change direction in pass coverage. But you're not going to get a 2nd-round pick. And here's the problem with trading him. I don't know if a team, I doubt any team is going to give up draft capital for him. Okay, this is key. This is the key right here. Give up draft capital and take his full salary. You see what I'm saying? Either I'll give up a draft pick for something that's not costing me, or I'll pay for it and I'm not going to give you draft capital. You're not going to get both. I mean, that would be great if you could get that to happen, because that's a win-win for the Cowboys. But when they come up with these scenarios, they're always a win-win for the Cowboys, but the other guys, it doesn't work that way. This is not fantasy football. For the Cowboys, if they weren't sure about holding on to Jaylen Smith, as well as we could also say Zeke Elliott, the thing would have been to have cut them back before their contract was guaranteed, because their contracts are fully guaranteed, which means it doesn't matter what you do, you have to pay him. Unless another team says, you know what, we'll be nice, we'll pay his salary for it, we'll give you a break. Ain't nobody giving the Cowboys a break. It just doesn't happen. Nobody gives the Cowboys a break. So, back to Jaylen Smith. Jaylen Smith is locked in for this year. There's no savings in anything else. Next year, at the end of the season, you can release him and save a whole bunch of money. So if you have to pay him for this year, regardless, why would you trade him to get probably a 5th round, 6th round draft pick? Because here's the reality for the Dallas Cowboys. This year we had 11 picks. It's great. Next year we'll get 1 extra because of Andy Dalton. It'll be a 4th round draft pick. Next year, currently we have on the roster, I believe 33 or 34 contracts that are ending. Let me say that one more time. The Cowboys have 34 contracts that are ending. They're not going to re-sign all those guys. They won't be able to. There's going to be a couple of those players that are still good players that we might not need. Like we talk about Vander Esch, that other teams will need and will sign. And you can get up to 4 compensatory picks. So the Cowboys in 2023 more than likely are going to be loaded for bear, because they're going to lose a lot of those guys. You might get a guy like Urban, who's on a 1-year deal, who comes in and he plays lights out. does a great job, and somebody says, you know what, we want to get that guy because we need to plug some holes. That's great. And you look at it and say, well, you know what, Tristan Hill played really, really good along with Gallimore. We got these young guys. Those older guys are a little more expendable. And he signs a decent deal, and all of a sudden you get a 4th round or 5th round pick for him. So we'll have the draft picks. Getting draft picks isn't necessarily the thing. It would be getting extra salary cap relief to help you for next year. And trading Jaylen Smith is not going to help us for next year's salary cap situation this year. You're still going to pay him this year. Just not. So I'm going to put that one as great to talk about, great to dream about, but it's not going to happen. Yeah. You can make a trade scenario for anybody. You can make a trade scenario for Dak Prescott if you would, but it won't happen. Sounds great to talk about, but won't happen. All right, y'all. I need to go take me a shower and get cleaned up, but I wanted to of course, talk to my people, and I needed to check my fish and make sure that they're okay, because I got to take care of everybody. All right, y'all. I will catch you a little later. I should open up the studio because I haven't seen it for a couple of days and get that squared away. Peace.